24? 24 actual school days or 24 calendar days? 24 school days? Calendar days. Wow, that's amazing. It's good to have you guys here. We've got some announcements. We need to make some announcements as we get started. Our first announcement is going to come from our Student Association. So who's announcing? Vanessa? Keith? Who's going to make an announcement? They both are. Hustle up, hustle up.
All right, hello everybody. We just wanted to make some quick announcements. First off, we want to invite you guys to the alumni tailgate that's happening this Saturday night. It's going to be, I can't see the time, but whatever this thing says up there, I think it's like 8. I don't know, but 8 o'clock? Yes, 8 o'clock. So there's going to be a lot of activities, food. I believe the CAF is going to be closed, so you'll have food at the tailgate. You can also watch our sports team play the alumni as well. And so we want to invite you guys out to that on Saturday night.
And for those who were there, not this weekend, but last weekend, we had Mimosa. It turned out super duper beautiful. If we could give a round of applause to Keith and the team that worked on that. But I'm up here to also announce that the pictures that were taken during Mimosa are now on Flickr. And if you don't know how to get on Flickr, or if you have any questions how to access it, let me know. I'm more than willing to walk you through the steps and everything. But yes, the pictures are up.
Yes, and last announcement, for those who signed up for the water park on Sunday night, that's going to be the reward for the fight night that happened a few weeks ago, in March, I think. That's for the freshman class and for the athletics teams, all right? So if you did not sign up to be a freshman in athletics, just text me, and I'll get you on the list. We have a few spots left for that. So we'll be leaving the school around 3 p.m. For those who need a ride. But the event at the water park is going to be from 4 to 8 p.m. And so, again, if you are a freshman or an athlete and did not sign up for that and want to go, just text me and I can put you on the list. We have a few more spots. So thank you all.
All right, thank you. We have a 1220 group. Where's our 1220 group? Is that our 1220 group? All right, here they are. Let's give them a hand.
Hello, I'm Robin Jenkins, your new Career Service Coordinator. We're trying to get y'all signed up for this new platform we're using to integrate our students with the business world and hopefully find you jobs and internships and all these wonderful things. So if you haven't done so, please scan the QR code on there. That website should pop up and you create a password and you're good to go. And it'll ask you a few questions to get you started. You have anything?
Okay, so if you are not able to log in, if you could come see me, I'm in Findlay. I will be happy to make sure that you are in the system and fix any corrections for you.
Thank
you. This is, I thought we had an announcement from an actress from Hillcrest Market. Anybody here? Oh, they're not here. Oh, you guys again. Come on. It's the fabulous, it's 5 of you now. Okay, you guys have 10 seconds each. Done? Next.
Hey guys, so friendly reminder, today we're having the Spark Pitch competition at 5:45 at the Wharton Auditorium, so you're welcome to come.
We're also going to be giving out free dinner at the end, and there will be assembly credit provided. Funny enough, the main speaker today, Anna Lohman, will be part of our judges panel, so can we give her a round of applause, please? This is a great opportunity for you to come out and support your friends who are pitching their business ideas, so we strongly encourage you guys to come on down, enjoy, have a good time. Again, we're giving out some free food. You are definitely going to not regret it. It's going to be an awesome time.
And don't forget, Hillcrest is coming up. You guys are the vendors, and it's going to be a fun time. If you're not vending, just come and support. Look at the items that people are selling. We're going to have activities as well and food, so yeah.
That event is going to be on the 21st from 3 to 7. If you're a vendor, you have to be a couple hours earlier. So please, come join.
Yeah, so I hope to see you all at those events. So my announcement actually has nothing to do with business. I want to invite all of the ladies to a women's ministry event this coming Monday. We're going to be baking goods. So it's a taste and see the process. So we're going to be going over the story of Esther. So I hope to see you all there. It's going to be in the Student Center at 6 p.m.
All right. That's it. Thanks, you guys. Thank you. All right. Vendors, I know that... there's a couple vendors and they promised me there will not be any Dukes of Hazzard Daisy Duke shorts, okay, for sale. So please remember that. All right. Okay. What do we have there? We have Hillcrest. All right. This is Alumni Weekend. Is Miss Rosie here? There's Alumni Weekend on a more personal and local front, but globally and nationally, it's a NASCAR weekend. So we are so honored. We are so honored to have for our assembly today people that are involved with NASCAR and Advent Health. So let's give them a hand. So, amen. So that's the last of our announcements, correct? All right, let's get started. Let's bow our heads and let's start our assembly program. Father, we thank you so much for the privilege to gather as a university family. And Lord, as we spend these moments, as we pause and take a little time out from all the hustle and bustle of classwork, schoolwork, and other things that we are obligated to do, and to complete as we get ready to end the school year, Lord, we just say thank you for the privilege to assemble. We thank you for our guests. We thank you for their willingness to be here, for the things that they will be presenting to us. And help us, Lord, to be able to learn, to gather, to glean, and just to be able to just take this moment so that we can grow better as individuals and as a collective body is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. We have two guests with us today. And I would just like to share a little information about them as we turn the time over to them. Our guest didn't just grow up racing. He did so in his own backyard. A request for a go-kart turned into a racetrack on their property, thanks to his father. He absolutely wore the thing out and destroyed multiple yard carts. Eventually, his dad said, it's time to go real racing. So go-karts, the flat cart racing, moving up and succeeding in Virginia and North Carolina, dirt kart racing. As a teenager, he read a newspaper article where a driver could compete in trucks at 13 and 14 years old. At the time, late models were limited to 16-year-olds, and he, going on 14, was looking to get into something full-sized. He worked his way up to the late model stock car series, racing against familiar names in the NASCAR world, such as Danny Hamlin and Timothy Peters. But there came the point when he had to figure out a plan for his future before graduating high school. After high school, he ended up at UNC Charlotte, intending to become an engineer. He came to college in 2002 and met a lot of wonderful people that he still works with to this day. Out of college in 2006, he landed at Roush Fenway Racing, where he worked for 6 years. During that time, he and Mike Beam worked together for the first time. He served as a race engineer in Xfinity Series. Wanting to go to NASCAR Cup Series, he joined the Hendrick Motorsports team in 2011 and the number 88 team. Taking a step back from the grind, he says, he returned to the Xfinity Series in 2012, where he reunited with Beam to work on Kyle Busch's program for Kyle Busch Motorsports. His resume has included work and collaboration with multiple teams, drivers, and organizations, including, but not limited to, JTG, Doherty Racing, Richard Childress Racing, GMS Racing, Toyota, Chevrolet, and many others. Now, He manages the day-to-day logistics of what is now Legacy Motor Club's 2 full-time Cup Series and the 3rd part-time program for race car Jimmy Johnson. The easiest way for him to describe his job is that he's responsible for getting the company what it needs to compete. He says some days you deal with people, some days it's hiring and firing, some days it's wind tunnel data. You don't pick and choose your day, but it is fun and exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our guests today, Mr. Joey Cohen, Vice President of Race Operations, Legacy Motor Club. Let's give him a hand. Can you stand? Yeah. Our next guest, as the Director of Sports Marketing and Strategic Partnership for Advent Health, our guest oversees the brand's national motorsports portfolio, including strategic partnerships with the Daytona International Speedway, Kansas Speedway, the Chicago Street Race, and Legacy Motor Club. This includes developing unique and creative activation strategies aimed at building brand awareness and familiarity for the new Advent Health brand. Driving strategic volumes, establishing thought leadership and an authority position for critical hospital service lines, and enhancing the hospital's community involvement strategy. Prior to her time at Advent Health, she served as Senior Marketing Manager at Michael Waltrip Racing, MWR. MWR, a former NASCAR Cup Series team co-owned by 2-time Daytona 500 champion Michael Waltrip, supported 2 Toyota Camrys Lions in Series, the number 15 5-hour energy driver, Clint Boyer, and the number 55 Aaron's Dream Machine driver, Brian Vickers. In her role at MWR, she worked directly with invested partners to help them amplify and extend their company's current sales and marketing platforms, utilizing race team assets. Some of the unique campaigns she managed, including special karting and ride-along events to increase sales for Napa, and 5-Hour Energy's launch of the raspberry flavor, benefiting breast cancer awareness that resulted in a significant increase in contributions to living beyond breast cancer. Our guest, a Neptune Beach, Florida native, graduated from Belmont Abbey College in North Carolina with a Bachelor's of Art in Business Management, concentration in motorsports management, and a minor in accounting. During her time at Belmont Abbey, she was a member of the women's soccer team. She served as captain for 2 years and was named the NCAA Conference Carolinas Women's Soccer Player of the Year. Southwestern Adventist University, let's give a warm welcome to Ms. Anna Lohman. She is the Director of Sports Marketing and Strategic Partnerships for Advent Health. We welcome you to Southwestern Adventist University.
Thank you. So is there any NASCAR fans in here? Bye. Who's your favorite driver? Good answer. Anyone else? There's a couple. Just a couple. That's okay. Oh, who's your favorite driver? All right, Joey Logano. Okay, champion. I hear you. So if you didn't raise your hand, I was just like you. I grew up not watching racing. I played soccer. As I said, I probably need to shorten my bio. I felt like that was really long. But I grew up playing soccer, and I went to a small school to play soccer, and it was the only school in the country that offered motorsports management as a degree. And I knew I wanted to do something in sports, so I decided to major in motorsports management, thinking at minimum it would be a conversation starter on my resume and someone would want to interview me, which is not what I would suggest for you. But it actually worked out for me. I got a job in racing. The first race I ever went to was the Daytona 500 at the start of the 2011 season. And I would say I've been hooked ever since. And then Advent Health blessed me with the opportunity to come work for them. And I would have never, ever thought I would work in healthcare. If you would have asked me when I was your age, would you ever work in healthcare, the answer would not only be a no, it would be a hard no. But what I think is really cool about Advent Health is we have careers that aren't clinical. I didn't really think of that when I was your age. So my plug to you is, as you're thinking about your career path, I see some scrubs in the audience. I'm sure you're going into healthcare, but there's probably some of you that are majoring in other things, maybe interested in sports marketing. So think of us, so you have a home at Advent Health. But when I was hired, they had just announced a partnership with the Daytona International Speedway. And we realized very quickly that in order to connect with fans, we needed a race team partnership. We needed to connect with a driver. And so today, we are partnered with Legacy Motor Club. We sponsor Eric Jones, driver of the number 43, which used to be Richard Petty's number. Has anyone heard of Richard Petty? A few more hands. And then it is co-owned by Jimmy Johnson, who is a 7-time champion. Jimmy Johnson, anyone heard of him? Okay, a couple more. So today, Joey and I's job is to, one, get you excited because tomorrow Jimmy Johnson and Eric Jones are going to be here at Southwestern, and we hope you're all going to attend. It's going to be awesome. We'll also have the race car here for you to check out. We hope you tune in on Sunday. The race is at 2 p.m. on FS1. Jimmy Johnson will be making his debut in the Advent Health Toyota. He is the most winning driver at Texas. So we feel like we have some good odds going into this weekend, so we hope you tune in. But we hope you give you a new perspective, one about racing, two about unique careers. Joey and I are very different. I didn't set out to be in racing. He did. But it's both brought us here together today. So I would love to welcome Joey Cohen, VP of Racing Operations for Legacy Motor Club. I just confirmed with him that was his title, and he said he also goes by Chief Complaint Officer, so he'll be sure to share a little bit more with you about that. So, Joey?
Hey, thanks everybody for coming. They were going through that bio, and I realized how old I was when he started throwing out the years 2002. I'm sure some of you weren't even born yet, so that's kind of a shock for me. That's why you look at this slide and say, how did I get here? When I look at 20 years, when I was sitting in your seat in this room right here, I would have never envisioned the path I would have taken, or I knew I wanted to race like Anna said, but trying to envision how you're going to get there, how you're going to get to the top level of a motorsports in the United States. That wasn't a reality for me at 20 years old or however old I was coming out of college. But I was telling Austin down here, the one thing that I would have never planned on is the relationships I've built, the networking that went on while I was at college. In the introduction, you hear about the people that I met while I was in college. Those are some of my peers, some of my friends to this day that I still lean on professionally, personally, as friendships. But the people you're sitting with in this room right here very well could lead you to your next thing, could lead you to the next thing in life, what you want to do for a career, what you want to do relationship-wise as you progress with what you want to do. So, how did I get here? This picture right here is probably, I'm like 2 years into college. I was very fortunate at UNC Charlotte. They had a motorsports program like Anna was talking about at Belmont Abbey. Basically it was motorsports engineering. Engineering was not a big thing in NASCAR at the time. It was kind of coming prevalent in the early 2000s. You would start to see some computers around the racetrack. That was something that was not normal before then. But I chose Charlotte. I grew up in Virginia. I chose Charlotte specifically because they had a motorsports engineering program. They had a path for me to go to college. I was a terrible student in high school. I had no dreams of going to college for anything. I had a lot of other plans. But once I found out about the motorsports engineering program, I said, that's something I can do. That's something that interests me. That's my passion. The photo above that is our Darlington win in 2022 with Eric Jones, who will be here tomorrow. Eric Jones has won 2 Southern 500s. It's a very, very big race in the NASCAR world, one of the crown jewels of the sport. To be standing there in victory lane some 20 years later, that's just not something I envisioned, right? As a kid in college, thinking about how do I turn racing into a career, and then standing in victory lane in one of the most prestigious races in NASCAR, it takes you a while to realize, how did I get here? This is my attempt at humor. I don't know if you guys know Toto Wolff. He's a team principal at Mercedes F1. F1's very popular in the United States right now. This is what I envisioned my presentation would look like, and this is what it's probably going to become here. So bear with me a little bit. We'll try and connect the dots here. About me, behind a lot of things that you want to do is a great support system. I have a family now. I'm old enough to have kids, but like in the introduction, I had parents that were very supportive of what I wanted to do and what I wanted to do as a career and what my passions were. And that goes a long way in life for sure. But I'm really passionate about what my kids do now, and I want to support them with whatever their interests are. But I've been in the sport ever since I got out of college, and it's been a blessing for me to get up every day and do what I want to do in life and for a career. I won't go too much into the details. Obviously, my personal hobbies are, outside of racing. That's kind of what keeps me sane. We travel a lot around the country, usually gone from home about 40 weeks a year. So you tend to find some hobbies while you're on the road, just some things to pass the time. You can see some random pictures of me. Like I said, from a young age, that's me and my dad there, probably in the mid-90s. I was just always around racing. And that's really what drove the passion for me to get into the sport. They kind of went over this. Here's the visual of that. I've been very fortunate along my way to work at some really phenomenal places with some phenomenal drivers. If I could stress one thing in here today, it's the relationships you build, the networking you do, the people you come across. You don't know what one thing in your life's going to lead to the next thing. You may feel like you're stuck. There might be a final exam that's really hard next week or something like that. You don't see the path for where you're going to be able to go, how you're going to get through that. But every step along the journey is just preparing you for the next thing. And I have a huge belief in that any position I was placed in, the job I was doing, the role I was serving, was preparing me for the next thing. And that was kind of my outlook and my mentality, is that I was going to take that opportunity and what was it preparing me for to get to the position I'm in today. And, how was I going to be able to manage people, lead people, get to the top level of the sport? That was always in my mind, but I had to cultivate that through experiences along the way through my journey. All right. Legacy Motor Club, like Anna talked about, really exciting race team. To think, the only two living 7-time champions of the sport are part of our ownership group, part of our race team. It's really a surreal experience when you look every day. And Jimmy Johnson and Richard Petty are walking through the shop, just checking out what we're doing there. So really exciting. The partnership with Advent is a great thing for Legacy Motor Club. The access that they give us, not only to go race, to go out on the racetrack every weekend with the Advent colors, but some of the resources they provide us. We have a pit crew. I'm sure you've seen the guys that run around the car during the pit stops and do things really fast, change tires. Advent's a critical component of keeping those guys healthy. They're our athletes, their wellness and the resources they need, and then all of our employees, the people that work on the cars back at the shop. We have about 120 employees that have the availability of resources of what Advent offers us from a partner. So really great partnership, Legacy Motor Club. You're going to learn so much more about it tomorrow, but you'd be really excited for tomorrow with Jimmy and Eric coming. I think every time I do one of these things, you guys are sitting here. I dreaded, I went to a career event the other day for college students, and I was thinking about myself and how much stress it was to think about, what am I going to do with my life? How am I going to get a job? How am I going to go to these interviews? And it was just stressful. I mean, I felt the anxiety pouring over me when I thought about that, these kids handing me resumes. And, I think the one thing to keep in mind is you just got to keep putting yourself in the positions of where you want to be and what you want to do. That can be frustrating. There can be a lot of stops at times on that, but I left with these thoughts when I kind of thought about the 20-year journey as we started out here. These were kind of the things that stuck out to me the most. If I had to pinpoint things looking back that I cared about or that I felt like enabled me to get to where I wanted to be in my career. The first thing is attitude. over and ability. I think there's a balance there. You might be the smartest student, you might be the smartest person somewhere, but if your attitude's terrible, there's not a lot of people that are going to want to work with you. There's not a lot of people that are going to want to be around you. So there's a delicate balance there between what your abilities are in a career and what your attitude and approach is, and how you can network with people, like I said, and how you can, be a team player. We look at that concept a lot in our race team. You may be the most skilled person at your job, but if you kill the culture of our company, it's something where we're probably not going to have you there in our company. Part of that inside the company, we talk about standards, not rules. So, we talk about, what is the level we want to achieve, not these rules that are constrictive. We're a very forward-thinking company. We have to think about how to make cars fast, how to get creative with that. So we kind of look at that and set the standards of where we want to be as a race team, and not so much as what the rules are around that. Control the input, not the output. I think when you look at things, you want or desire a certain result, so you're looking at and saying, this is what the output's going to be. And when you're doing that, you're not looking at what the input's going to be. And the input's going to be the effort and the consistency you put towards things to get to that desired result. So we have a big messaging on that. A lot of things we do on the race team, you see the race car on the track on Sunday, but where the speed and where the things were developed were Monday through Friday. They were at the race shop. They were the people working on the race cars, preparing the race cars. Those were the people controlling the input, and so we could have the result that we desire on Sunday. I know you're not going to want to hear this because he said there was 24 days of school left, but learning is a forever process. If you're not learning, you're not going anywhere. And I've extended myself to things that aren't engineering in order to manage people better, right? There's skill sets that I didn't have when I left college that I had to develop. Always take the approach that there's something you can learn, there's something you can better yourself with. This one always stuck with me. People are self-limiting. Don't start to think about failure. I was fortunate enough, I think it was in 2013, I got to hear Elon Musk speak. So Elon Musk, everybody knows who Elon Musk is, Tesla, SpaceX. His approach and his mentality to where failure is not an option, he's just going to figure something out. That was one of his key points in his talk that he gave in 2013. Most people will never start because they'll limit themselves with doubt or something in their mind that they can't do it. That always stuck with me because I think that's a true barrier for people doing what they want to do. No doubt in my career, I came off a lot of instances and a lot of times where there's going to be people that don't want you to succeed. There's going to be other things that don't want you to succeed. But the only thing that really matters is what you do with that and how you approach that. And so removing some of that self-doubt, some of that self-limiting thoughts in your mind, I think that's a big thing for getting to where you want to go. This is kind of capping it all off with everything I talked about. Success comes from continuous progress. Where you want to be, this journey right here, we're talking about 20 years of my life. You don't get there overnight. Every day stacks up to every week stacks up to every month, every year stacks up to these 20 years here. The consistency of showing up every day and, like I said, not limiting yourself is what's going to trail you into the next success in your life and where you want to get in your life. One of the race team things we talk about, and I think it's a good team building aspect, is we always talk about culture over control. I look at myself as a servant leader. Like I made the joke about a chief complaint officer, but what I'm doing is I'm hearing everybody's thoughts. I'm there for everybody. I'm listening. I'm learning with them. I'm not trying to micromanage. I'm not trying to stifle growth in any manner. I'm trying to develop a culture of inclusiveness, of people that want to come to work every day and want to do this. This is a very hard career. It's hard to drag people from their families so much during the year. So what you really got to create is a culture where people want to come to you and want to be involved with you and want to do the things because they're going to have a certain input into the success that you're going to have in your career. That's all I got. I tried to whiz through that pretty fast. I think most of the things when I do things like this is I'm here for people to ask questions, right? And any curiosity you may have or anything that you want to possibly understand more as you guys are venturing out into your career. I don't want to talk about myself anymore, so that would be the main thing here. But, I think the biggest thing is, I'll say it again, is look around the room, think about the people that you're here with, that you're on this journey with, and, some of these people might be, very relative to where you are 10 years, 20 years from now, and really think about how that affects your career and where you want to go. But that's all I have. Thank you.
Hey man, how's it going?
Hey Jimmy, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Hey, how's that new car?
Oh, you mean this car?
You do not want to miss it.
Check, check, check. Check, check, check. There we go. Sorry, I threw a curveball at you.
You don't want to miss it. Tomorrow at 11 a.m., we will have Eric Jones and Jimmy Johnson on our campus. So where you want to be is at the Maybe Center in the Wharton Auditorium at 11 a.m. for a panel. Afterwards, from 12:30 to 2:50, we will have the show car in our gym. So if you want to snap your selfie with a real-life NASCAR, you don't want to miss it. At this time, we're going to transition to a Q&A with Anna and Joey. There will be a slide again on the screen with a phone number. So if you have any questions you want to ask, please text it to that phone number now. Thank you.
Okay, I know y'all have a lot of questions, so while you're texting those in, I'll kind of break the ice and start off with a few questions. So you kind of hit on the length of the season. NASCAR is the longest season in all of sports, 36 weeks, 38 weeks, February through November. And one of the things I love, you saw the car on the video that played. That's what you see on Sunday, but what you don't see, to your point, is everything leading up to the race. And in fact, Advent Health, our sponsorship with Legacy, is more than just the paint scheme that you saw. Every Friday before the race where we are on the car, we do something in the market. So tomorrow we will be here with you, but we go to elementary schools. We take the drivers to visit patients. Recently in Daytona, we donated a book vending machine with our driver, Eric Jones, to an elementary school that was underserved and didn't have access to books. So it's very much about the community. Can you talk a little bit just about a week in the life of your crew guys?
Yeah, they, the constant grind, like she said, it's basically 38, 40 weeks a year. This industry is a 7-day-a-week industry. Our guys, we're very fortunate in a lot of regards. We travel charter, we don't fly commercial. We get to where we need to go pretty fast. We like to do everything fast. But those guys, they obviously have to come to the racetrack on Saturday and Sunday and work on the car. But even during the week back at the shop, they're doing all that same stuff. They're building cars. They're getting cars prepared for the race. Everybody has a function and activity in the race team to support it. The pit crew guys, they're practicing during the week. They're just like a professional team. They're going over their drills and their things to make themselves better. There's marketing people. There's people working on these partnerships with Advent and figuring out how we're going to do these things. The drivers are doing different activities. They're training themselves, getting ready during the week. The clock never stops on a race team. We're a 7-day-a-week operation. We're always going. We're always doing something. We talk about we have to drive to all these places. The equipment's got to get there. Our hauler drivers typically leave on Tuesday, and they're driving constantly, whether it's to California, Texas, Florida, New Hampshire, all over the country. They're driving to deliver these vehicles to the racetrack so that when the race team gets there, they're able to have all the equipment that they need. But I always talk about a race team's just a bunch of companies rolled up into one. We have a lot of business units. We're a logistics company. Like, we're not FedEx, we're not UPS, but We have to ship all this equipment 40 times a year to a location, and it's got to be there on time. We don't send you an email if it's not on time. That race is going to happen without us, whether we're there or not. So there's just a lot of interesting facets of the race team, from a career standpoint. Like Anna said, you may not think racing is part of your career path, but there's a lot of different disciplines involved with it.
Awesome. Can you hear me? Okay. One of my favorite moments of every weekend happens before the race actually starts. So I told you my first race I ever went to was the Daytona 500. I'm 21 years old. I'm on the starting grid. They bring out the national anthem, but the thing that struck me during that time and that moment was they do an invocation. So a prayer happens before the race. NASCAR is the only professional sport to nationally televise the invocation before every race. And to have 250,000 people bow their head in solidarity and silence, to me, it gets me every weekend. And it's something that you'll be able to see Sunday before the race. Can you talk a little bit just about your experience with faith and in NASCAR?
Yeah, I think, look, we're a Sunday sport, right? That's very well known, just like the NFL. A lot of times not being able to be at at a church service on Sunday, right? My job doesn't allow that. There's some really cool elements. We have a chapel. We have an MRO that comes and provides a church service to us at the racetrack. But like Anna said, there's about to be loud engines. There's about to be a lot of noise for 4 hours. That little quiet moment for 30 seconds or 40 seconds before the race, that little peaceful moment is probably one of the greatest experiences on Sunday, just to kind of gather your thoughts, get prepared for what you're about to do. Going all the way back to the start of the presentation, my family life growing up was we went to church on Sunday, and we got home as fast as we could to turn the race on. NASCAR started at noon, 12:30 every Sunday. You knew it was going to be on the TV, and that's just what I grew up. That's what I knew. That was my rhythm of life. So it's really cool to have that kind of element still involved with NASCAR, where they still have such a reverence and such an honor for that moment and that invocation, being televised to everybody, and then allowing the crew members and everybody to have that experience on Sunday before we go racing.
And my little plug is, if you tune in to any of the Daytona races or any of the Kansas races, in fact, Kansas is coming up here in May for the Advent Health 400. It's actually the Advent Health chaplain that delivers the invocation for all of those races. So be sure to check that out. And then I'll do last question, and I'll bring Austin up because we want to answer yours. We have a lot of NASCAR novice here. What can they expect to see on Sunday when they tune in?
Yeah, Texas is a really interesting racetrack. They reconfigured the racetrack a couple years ago, and turn 1 and 2 is way different than turn 3 and 4. A lot of the racetracks we go to, we race in circles. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows the joke about left turns. But a lot of tracks, the turns are symmetrical, right? The track is the same. Turns 1 and 2, they're banked the same as turns 3 and 4. Texas is totally different in the fact that the turn 1 and 2 profile is totally different than 3 and 4. So your car can be really good at one end of the track, and it can be really bad at the other, or it can be vice versa. Probably one of the more challenging races for race teams to try to figure out how to get performance out of the car. We were very fortunate last fall. We race at Texas twice a year. We finished second last fall with Eric Jones, had a chance to win the race. For Legacy Motor Club, we feel like it's a really strong track for us. Super excited for Jimmy. Jimmy, like Anna went through, has a ton of success at Texas Motor Speedway. So for him to be able to come out here, represent the Advent colors, and get back to Texas Motor Speedway, it's going to be really exciting on Sunday.
Awesome.
Check. So while we were here, we already got 40 questions coming through. So I'm glad you're in NASCAR. The first question we had here is, what's the toughest aspect of the race week?
Yeah, I think the toughest aspect of the race week is more so the preparation and the time and the amount of time you have to get something done in. You never settled. You never feel like you've done enough. Time is probably the most limiting factor of a race weekend. For sure, like results on Sunday, right? Like we wreck or we get in a crash or we don't get the result we want. That's frustrating, but a lot of times that's out of our control. really we just always want more time. We always want to get better and better at what we do. So time is the main kind of crunch on our lifestyle.
And another question we had here is, what is one of the funniest stories you have in NASCAR?
Oh man, I don't know if it's...
You can tell.
yeah. I don't know if it's appropriate for, it's just like any other professional sports team, locker rooms. There's pranks. There's people, we're people that we travel the country together with one another. A lot of these guys are around their teammates more than their family. It's just the general banter and the general lightheartedness of making fun of people, in a kind way. We'll put it. Just the camaraderie and the relationships. See a lot of funny stuff when you travel the country. I think it might be more so the people watching in certain areas, whether you go out to California or stuff like that. That might be the most entertainment we get out of it.
So the next one here comes from a potential NASCAR fan. And they said, what should someone who doesn't know anything about NASCAR know before watching a race?
Yeah, I think, the cool part about trying to become a fan nowadays is there's so much out there. There's content that you can devour. I'm sure everybody knows about Netflix here, the Netflix effect. NASCAR is a documentary on Netflix called Full Speed, and it basically follows the life of the drivers kind of behind the scene, similar to how they do the golf one, they do the F1 one. That really gives you a sense, like these guys, like you're learning about them, and it makes you want to turn the TV on Sunday and watch the race and see how those guys do. So there's so many things out there that you can grab a hold of, social media, Instagram, all this stuff you can go look at and kind of understand the culture of what NASCAR is and find the part that you like about it. Find your favorite driver, find what kind of interests you, and then get to the racetrack. Go one time. Once you experience it, once you hear the engines, you hear the noise, you get in the environment, you'll be hooked. There's just no way around it.
Yeah, I would just add too, it's more fun when you have a driver that you're honed in on to watch. So I would encourage you to tune in this weekend, whoever you are, to look for the 84, which is Jimmy Johnson, and then Eric Jones in the 43, and then really follow them throughout the race. It's fun to watch them make moves and to pass people. It might be helpful just in like 2 seconds to explain the stages. Yeah, so NASCAR races are broken up into basically 3 stages. Look, part of the thing of NASCAR used to be the endurance element. Think about 500 miles. If you had to get in your car today and drive 500 miles, it'd probably take you about 7 or 8 hours. We typically do that in about 3.5 hours. Things are happening fast. But so the race is divided into 3 stages, and there's some elements of there for championship points. At certain intervals of the race, they'll award points to the top 10 competitors that are running in the top 10 at that time. So the race kind of gets broken up into 3 stages, and you're kind of strategizing and trying to figure out how to best position yourself in those stages. And then obviously the main aspect is the trophy they give at the end of the race. So stage 3 is essentially starts where the conclusion of the race is going to go to, and that determines the ultimate winner. So stage 3 is the one you want. It's still good to have some wins in the earlier stages, but the one you're after is at the end.
So we have 5 minutes left, and I have 2 questions, so we'll see if we can get done. The first question is, why was Toyota chosen as the car to represent the company?
Good question.
Yeah, part of a NASCAR team is you have to have not only support from the partners and sponsors, but support from the manufacturer. So we go and compete on Toyota's behalf in the NASCAR Cup Series. Toyota's just like Advent. They're trying to get their message out there. They're trying to make people aware of their brand and what it means for performance. It wants somebody in here to decide to go buy a Toyota, like when you see it on the racetrack. I like that car. I like the way it looks. It looks fast. It looks like this. So part of our partnership and our resources from a technical standpoint come from a manufacturer like Toyota.
Yeah, and I would just add what was really cool, Advent Health last year went through a process where we looked to find a new driver and race team to partner with. And so we had several teams reach out. We went and met with all of them, one of which was obviously Legacy. And what really stood out to me was Toyota was the only manufacturer that showed up in the room. And they spoke to their commitment to performance and to getting better and to making sure that Legacy Motor Club was a top contending team for them. And so that was honestly one of the reasons we went with Legacy.
I'm glad they did.
Me too.
Our last question is, How could a student get into the NASCAR industry?
Well, what you're going to do is when Anna steps off this stage, you're going to ask her if you can have a job. No, you can ask me to. No, seriously, it's kind of what I went over, right? Finding your path and finding what you want to do, what you're passionate about. One door leads to another. Come out to the racetrack, right? Get yourself embedded into the environment, into the culture. Start to develop relationships. There's so many powerful tools, again, I'll say online, right? There's so many connections. This wasn't prevalent 10 years ago, but I probably get about 40, 50 LinkedIn messages every week about how can I get an internship? How can I do this? And there's some very persistent people, and you start to identify some of these people's passion and how serious they are about it. And I'll use a simple observation. Our data analytics person at Legacy Motor Club, he was doing data analytics on Twitter, on X, whatever you call it nowadays. And he was doing some really interesting things and posting them online. And you could tell he was very passionate about NASCAR. I reached out to him and said, hey, what is your interest level here about NASCAR analytics? And he went through this whole spiel for 10 minutes about how this, and walked me through it. And I could just tell how passionate he was. He lives in Nebraska, right? He doesn't live in North Carolina. But this is what he wants to do, and he's going to do anything he can to make that possible. So we ended up bringing him in on a summer internship last summer. Never worked at a race team, never done anything. His family didn't grow up racing. He just took it upon himself to create the content on X and display his passion out there for the world to see. And it caught my eye, and it was a direct message to him. And next thing you know, he comes and spends a summer with us. And now he works remotely for us. He brings so much value to our race team. He has a different perspective. We would have never went out and hired this person. We wouldn't have been looking for this person. But this person brought it to our attention that there was something that we could take advantage of. And he was putting it out there for the world to see, caught the right person's attention. So like I said, don't ever question or maybe, you'll for sure have some instances where you think like, why am I doing this? But it'll eventually catch on and catch the right attention for what you want to do.
Yeah, and I'm happy to talk to anyone that's interested in a sports marketing role. My previous job with the race team, my job was to help invested sponsors sell more of their product using NASCAR. So think 5-hour energy, right? They're on the car. Their main goal is to sell more 5-hour energy. And when I came to Advent Health, I thought that would be my job, is how do I get all the sick people to come to Advent Health? And that's actually not what my job is. It's very much about how do we spread our message of wholeness, and how do we educate people on living healthy lives, keep them out of the hospital, but choose Advent Health when they truly need it. And so for me, the mission of Advent Health has been truly just a godsend. I get to do work that I think is meaningful and impactful and makes a difference in the lives of the communities that we serve. And I feel like the people in this room probably have that same mission and that same drive. So would love to chat with anyone that would be interested in an internship.
Give it up for Joey and Anna.
Thank you, guys.
All right. As Austin told you, tomorrow will be the car will be here on our campus. But unfortunately, we cannot just have unlimited time for their drivers to be here. So tomorrow, starting today, if you start looking into your text messages, the riddles that I send out, and if you want to win a wristband, we're giving away 30 of these to our students. So those 30 are the ones that are going to be able to get an autograph and a photo op signing time with Jimmy Johnson and with Eric Jones. But you'll get one of these, but you'll have to answer one of my world-renowned riddles. So it'll come on text messages. So if you're one of the 30, and you have to make sure that you're there tomorrow at the Mabee Center at 11 o'clock. The Mabee Center at 11 o'clock, because that's when I will be handing these out. So if you're one of the winners, you can get that in, and we'll also have that photo op and autograph time. I think also, I'm not sure, but I think we might give away 2 tickets to the race as well. So, and I'm going to talk to Mr. Powell on that. We're just going to work on that. And so if that's available too, that'll be for the Sunday race. So if you're interested, I know some of you are real NASCAR fans, and if you are, this is the way to be able to get some time with our drivers and also maybe win a couple tickets to the race. All right, let's bow our heads as we depart from this place. Father, what a privilege it was to hear from Anna and from Joey. Thank you, Lord, for giving them such wonderful experiences and that they were able to share with us. And Father, as we continue with this day, help us to look forward to not just finishing school for the year, but also looking into ways that we can enhance and we can grow as individuals in terms of our careers, in terms of the choices that we make beyond school. And Father, I just ask also that you be with all the participants, all the drivers this weekend, Lord. Help it to be a fun and enjoyable and a safe time racing is our prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.
These are very